was checking out the sound check, man. These guys sound exquisite. Most bands that come in here, I'm being honest, you know. Maybe not most, but a lot of bands play 3 chords. Their vocals are a little rusty. They got after it last night a little hard with some Yagi. They're wore down from the road. And what you get is a show that generally sounds better when it's plugged in a venue and there's a whole lot of feedback. These guys, you can hear the idiosyncrasies of each note. And it's very clean, well thought out. The harmonies are delicious. So you're in for a solid treat. I know that most of you have not heard much depth of the album that these guys have on Atlantic Records. We're playing Gypsy Woman on KUFO. Song sounds sick. You guys will be playing that here today. Solid. All right. JT, you guys have had this project going for what, almost 4 years now. How difficult was the road leading up to today here in Portland for you guys? Or was it absolutely, you know, the type of situation where it just came easy and everything fell into place for you?
No, it definitely didn't fall into place that easy. But yeah, we were all going to college and doing business and stuff like that, trying to, you know, kind of follow in our parents' footsteps kind of thing when we were about 20, 21. And we had been playing music together since we were about 16, a few of us, and just knew that we loved music that much. So we just decided when we were in the middle of college to go for it. And we dropped out. I dropped out of 2 years in at a university in Texas and just went for it all the way. And we started traveling, you know, being in Dallas where we're from. There's Austin and Houston and several cities right around there. We'd hop in. I can remember one instance we got in an F-150 and piled all the gear into a U-Haul, and we had about 7 people in this cab of this truck, and Brandon and I are in the back of the truck in the bed riding from Austin to Dallas, you know, doing stuff like that, just really going for it, you know, just wanted to see if we could do it. And, you know, a year or 2 in, we started playing in front of bigger artists, bigger acts in Texas. I think we opened in the first year we opened for the old group Heart. I don't know if you guys have heard them, but we
never heard of Heart, man.
we were like 3 months in, you know, and we were playing in front of like 3 or 4,000 people 3 months into the band, and you can imagine how nervous we were going up there in front of that kind of a crowd. And then, you know, later on going in front of groups like Erykah Badu, she's in Dallas, you know, playing in front of her. Playing in front of a band, Deep Purple. You know, a lot of the classic rock bands that were coming through Dallas, we started opening for. So we started building a fan base there. And, you know, from there we just started going further and further. Like, you know, if you throw a rock in the pool, you see the little ripples. You know, we just started going from Austin, then going up to Oklahoma, then going to Arkansas, then so and so and so and so. And here we are all the way far northwest. We, you know, never imagined being up here in Portland playing our music. And it's really awesome. It feels like we're pretty blessed to be able to do it. So.
And at what point did you decide to employ the vocal skills of Mo here? And did that kind of catapult you to, you know, a new, fresh sound?
We were about 2 months in, I think. We recorded an album. We took out like all the money we had in our bank accounts. I was working at a fast food restaurant, and a couple of the other guys were working in just terrible jobs that we hated, you know, going to school, like I said, and we pulled out some cash, recorded an album in like 3 days. Well, as soon as that album came out, which was like 3 months later, we met Mo like the week or so before at a little, what was it, like a little place called Gazelig?
Yeah.
I think there was maybe...
I had a small band. And I was doing actually my last show. I had decided I was just doing my last show that night. So the next day I got a MySpace message asking me would I be interested in assisting on some background vocals for the release of Hot Trottin', which was the first CD. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't doing anything. And I totally had the time to do it. And each time I was called, I had the time to do it. So I just never left.
Yeah.
Just never left.
Yeah, so we got to the second album and obviously asked her to do it, and we've just been you know, I think what's cool about what Mo does is she's a you probably would never guess this, but she's written like 3 books, 3 novels, and she does a lot of spoken word poetry and just a lot of literary stuff that, you know, we think is pretty badass. So, you know, we feel pretty blessed to have her around.
And Mo, how starstruck were you opening up for Erykah Badu?
We're living in Dallas and being, I guess, culturally aligned. I've always been like in the same circles. Have a lot of respect and admiration for Erykah. So it was pretty cool. But we've seen each other off and on throughout, you know, the history of music and poetry and literature in Dallas. So it's just it's exciting, but at the same time, it's like you feel. I don't know. It's even keel. Everything for me is real even keel. Like even when we perform in front of ZZ Top, I'm excited and enthused, but I want us to get there, you know. So I don't know. I'm just kind of on a mission.
Got you. So it seems, you know, maybe a little overwhelming in one sense, and then the other sense you feel as though you deserve to be on the same level, and their acceptance just makes you feel even more than ever right. that you're worthy of it. Right. So you guys have developed your own sound, man, which is definitely without a doubt a Southern sound, which, you know, it's similar to the Black Crowes, yet it's, in my opinion, a little bit more involved, maybe because of the literary process that you bring onto the stage of this band. They obviously, for the past 15 years, have been marketed, positioned, viewed as a Southern band. How important is it for you to be recognized as an American band rather than just a Southern band?
Well, you know, the thing about rock and roll music, if you follow it way back, you know, from the roots of it, it comes from blues music and it comes from country music. I mean, those are the 2 main elements that, you know, somebody like Bo Diddley or Chuck Berry or, you know, Hank Williams, when they were coming out, they were drawing from gospel music. You can go further and further back, you know, and you can find the roots of that music. It's truly American music because it came from America, you know. Obviously the Rolling Stones and like the Beatles and all those bands, they kind of took from what was happening over here in the 30s, 40s, and then it kind of blew up. But, you know, I was born in Alabama, and a couple of the guys are Oklahoma guys. And where we come from, it's just it's just around you, you know. My grandmother was playing piano in church, and it's gospel music. It's the same kind of chords and soul vocals and all that. So it doesn't necessarily feel like you have to be like a redneck or something to like the Southern music. It's just about you know, where we come from, tradition, where we come from. And I think, you know, I guess you can call it Southern. There's always got to be genres and things like that for people to label music so they can, you know, understand it. But I think it is what it is for us. We don't really think about, we need to make this twangy or anything like that. We just write it and let it come out naturally.
Finally, last question before we get to the band performing live. Yeah, I got to ask you, what do the Northern Lights mean to you?
Well, we've never seen the Northern Lights, so let's just say that. The Aurora Borealis. So
is that from where you drew the name?
No, it was actually something completely different, but we don't really go out and say it too blatantly.
Right, well, there's a strain here growing regularly that's called the Northern Lights, and if you have a medical card, it's 100% legal. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jonathan Tyler and the Northern Lights.